Hello and welcome back to Littleton. Today I'm going to look at my two latest additions to my collection. I've got the mainline rebuilt Royal Scot and the mainline rebuilt Patriot. So as you can see, although having different names, these two are very similar looking engines, and there's good reason for that. Both of them use the same chassis, so they have the same wheel arrangement, and when they were rebuilt using the same boiler. With these models, the tenders are identical from every angle. So looking at the Locos themselves, the differences are very minor indeed. On the cab roof, there's rivets present on the Patriot that are not there on the Royal Scot, with a slightly different design around the cab roof, but other than that they are the same. The cab windows are a different shape and size. The smoke boxes are identical, as are the detailing. The handrails and pipework are the same as well. There's this additional box on the Royal Scot that is not present on the Patriot. And then as you carry on down towards the front, the only other differences that remain are the pistons are slightly different. This one's got an oval door, and this one's got a circular hatch. And then the most obvious difference is the smoke deflectors. When you come round to the front, they both got the same chimney, smoke box, numbering's in the same place as the shed codes. The detailing is identical as well, and as is the buffer beam detail. So yeah, these must have been very nice for Mainland to make, because that's two different engines using the same molds. And of course on the track the similarities don't end there. They both contain the same chassis, wheel set, wall shorts, valve gear, and have the same motors in them from mainline. So performance on these two is fairly similar, and I have found that if you're thinking of buying one of these, controller choice seems to have a bit of an effect. I've got the newer Hornby controllers. They don't tend to like those. The older controllers, they seem to run better on. So on my test track, which uses the older controller, I get better performance, better speeds out of these. Whereas on here, on my main layout where I'm using the newer controller, which is only temporary, thankfully, I have found that they are prone to a little bit of cogging, and also won't run as fast. But I found that generally that this controller doesn't kick out as much power for many of the Locos. Just so you can see, that's the controller that I'm using temporarily on my layout, and this is the controller used on the test track, which gives much better performance. Okay, so to give you an idea of the difference that the choice of controller makes, here is the Royal Scot using the more modern Hornby controller at full speed. Not crazy fast, as you can see. And here it is on the test track using the older controller, and as you can see, it's much more peppy and responsive. Okay, I've just brought it back to the front, so I want to show you the difference it makes at slow speed. So I'll begin gradually turning the controller up, and we'll should see quite a smooth, or a relatively smooth start as it takes off. And back up here, using the new controller, as I begin to increase the power, it's taken a while to actually start going. I'm about halfway. There we go, and you can see it's cogging quite a bit, and I think that's just due to the lack of power coming out of the controller, and I've got to turn it all the way up before I get a smooth run in. So controller choice really does appear to make a difference with at least that engine. So we'll try it now with Sir Robert Turnbull. So increasing the power, it's a little bit smoother this one. Still quite coggy. You can see the tender jittering back and forward there. That kind of usefully exaggerates the cogging, so you can see the difference that it's making. Okay, and there it is. Down on. Oh, just turn it up ever so gently. There we go, and you can see hardly. Well, that cog in there is not cogging. That's me not putting the tender on properly. Let's try it again. Okay, take two. So I'm turning the power up very gradually. It just takes off. Again, not put the tender on properly, but there we go. That gives you some idea. Strangely enough, this layout should have a benefit as well in terms of power delivery to the engine, because there is a bus wire running underneath this track with droppers on every fish plate. So there is, using other engines, I get very, very good consistency of running. To help emphasize this, I've brought in the help of Duck, who is a fantastic runner. Actually does one of the best crawls I've ever seen despite his age. I've buffered a wagon up to him so that you can see that as I turn the controller up on this ever so slightly, you'll be able to see the gap appear. So there we go. The control over this crawl is absolutely amazing. So this is Duck, a very old Hornby Loco, using the modern Hornby controller, and there's no jittering, no cogging, nothing going on there, and it's just the best, most controlled crawl that you could possibly expect from a tank engine. Absolutely love it. So yeah, so it does seem a bit strange. It's difficult to say that the controller's completely at fault. It's definitely not a wiring issue, and it's hard to say that the engines are at fault either, because they run very well on one controller and not another. The other disadvantage that the other controller has is it's just a single point where the power goes into the track, and that power was running around the inside loop first before it reached the outside loop to power the Locos. Overall, I'm happy with both these Locos. I won't do an in-depth review of the Patriot because I've already done one for the Royal Scot, and as these engines are near identical, I don't see the point in doing that. But they were good value. One cost me £35, the other one cost £45. I believe it was Sir Robert Turnbull that was the more expensive engine. I'm not sure why. I think it might just be down to the fact that it's an LMS locomotive in LNER apple green when British Rail were experimenting with the colours. So to find a non-LNER engine in the LNER apple green is definitely different, and something that when I saw it I thought that'd be good to have on my train set, just to add a bit of extra variety, as opposed to the normal green used on the XMLMS engines and black. The only other colour I got, I think, is blue on the City of Bristol. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully it's given you a good oversight of of those two mainline engines, and also the difference that your choice of power unit can make. And thank you, Duck, for helping us do a good demonstration there, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, so to give you an idea on the performance, here is the Royal Scot using the more modern Hornby controller at full speed.